think this is the view that I'm gonna paint or draw. Don't know if you saw before, but there was like these hedgerows near the duck pond, and they've like cut them all down, and I don't know how to feel about it, because surely that is just getting rid of like habitat for animals. I really think this colour here will like go quite well with the building. This building's like not been in use, I don't think, for quite a long time, which is sad because it's such a beautiful building. I forgot my green neo colour, so I'm going to try mix this yellow one with this one, these two, to try and make a green for the bottom of the tree, because yeah, I forgot my green neo colour, which is a bit annoying, but try something new with mixing the neo colours. Both these are water soluble, this light blue and this light yellow, so I might be able to mix them together actually and see what that does. I'm gonna carve out the building on this page, like the shape of the building, because I think this colour works quite well with it. This is what I've got so far, and I've just added like these branches coming out the front of the tree, because before they were just like coming out the side and it kind of just looked quite like flat, which is fine, but I think these little kind of branches coming actually out of the tree add a bit more depth to the drawing. Just a really quick drawing of that. I don't know if I'm 100% happy with the building. I feel like I rely sometimes on adding like the kind of darker lines, but I quite like the sketchiness of them, like for the window panes and stuff. I've started working on some new drawings for uni, and I'm working on producing some bigger illustrations. So I've just started out by sketching them out on tracing paper, and then I'm going to use my light box and then start the main illustrations. This narrative that I'm doing it's quite fantastical, and using like the environment and nature to create kind of these fantasy characters, which I've not really done before. Pretty excited to start these kind of bigger A2 illustrations. I've not really done any bigger illustrations in a while. Yeah, I'm gonna start them, and I'm gonna use lots of mixed media and try and keep them loose. These are obviously very, very loose sketches to start out with. Don't know if I'm gonna do all of them on A2, because that'll take a really long time. I think I'll probably maybe not be able to finish the book the way that I want to finish it, because basically the brief is to produce a publication, which is what I'm doing. I think you can also produce an animation, but I'm choosing to produce a publication based on this narrative. I kind of want it to be a bit like a fable, where it takes the character like kind of through a journey, and he kind of learns these lessons along the way. He originally sets out on his journey to go hunting, but ultimately in the end I kind of want him to more give back to the environment rather than just taking away from it, which as humans we've obviously done that a lot to our own environment, a little bit like what I saw this morning in the park with the hedgerow. That was kind of a real life example of manicuring nature a little bit, I'd say, rather than letting it flourish. I'm not actually 100% sure on how I want to how I want the story to actually go, which is like, well, why are you starting the illustrations now? I just have a feeling it will kind of start coming together a bit more once I have a bit more of a vision of the final. Yeah, even if these don't go into the final illustration, they're kind of just experimenting with the styles and how I want it to look. Yeah, the characters, the way I want the characters to look. So it's a bit of an experiment. And yeah, I just want to practice doing characters a bit more. I just have a feeling I need to do some bigger illustrations to figure that out at the minute, which I know isn't the right way round of doing it, but it's for a uni project, so I kind of have the freedom to experiment with that a bit. Got back from uni and I like doing this thing where I print off my sketches that I do on the iPad onto tracing paper, because then I use it on my light box. So I've done this sketch on my iPad, and I think that's what I'm gonna spend my afternoon doing today. It's not uni work, but I really want to practice my characters really, which I never really do, so I'm quite happy with this one. But I also have another illustration on the go, so I don't know whether to finish that first before starting a new one. I don't really have a proper like plan for this vlog. I've just sort of been filming bits here and there, but yeah, I've not really had a plan with this video, which is making me a bit worried about how I'm gonna edit it. As you can see, very spring themed, inspired by snowdrops. The original sketch I started off with was very kind of like just a front-facing perspective, which I did think it was nice, but it didn't really push the composition very much. Like this one, this perspective, yeah, it's maybe just a bit more visually interesting. It shows the scale of the character as well, with it being almost like a very like character, quite whimsical, but yeah, very spring inspired. I'll show you the other one that I'm working on as well, the other illustration. This is the other illustration I'm working on. Again, working on kind of character design, and there's going to be a little figure that goes down here. Not only to emphasise like the scale of this character, but it's kind of the main character in itself. But this is kind of one of these forest guardians that he meets along the way. Kind of give away the whole story because it will probably change and adapt as I create the illustrations as well, which I know is not the proper way, but it's for a uni project, so it's alright. And yeah, and then there's going to be this tree here, so I'm really happy with like the textures and stuff in this one as well, and this like kind of scribbly texture of the tree. I wanted to try and keep it loose, even though it is quite big, like bold shapes like here. I wanted to still keep it loose, so I'm yet to finish that, so I need to finish that probably today. I use this Stay Wet palette as well for a lot of my illustrations. I'll see if I can find which one it is. There's loads of tutorials on YouTube of how to make your own Stay Wet palette. I also have a little spray bottle I spray the paints with after I've finished painting for the day. I also use a lot of these paints for my illustrations. I'm not too sure about the light fastness of these. This one's almost empty. I've actually got some refills over here as well of the same colour. Yeah, I use these a lot because they're really matte. They're kind of easy to layer mixed media on top of because they're so matte, as you can see on here. I didn't really end up recording the rest of the process, but I think I've finished this illustration. This one's for my uni project, so I'll just show you now. So I'm kind of going for like a picture book style. I think I'm going to turn it into some sort of picture book or lots of mixed media textures. I think I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I added some textures using like monoprint, so I just had like a little roller and a piece of paper with some ink on it, and then I just used this dotting tool and basically just carved outlines and it adds quite a nice kind of monoprint texture to these little areas. And over here I added quite a bit of it because it was really fun to do, and it's quite unexpected, the results, so it keeps the marks a bit loose. I think it'll look good once it's been scanned in. I do think this area over here is a bit maybe empty. Text can kind of go on top of it, and then if it's hard to read, then I'll just like reduce some of this texture down. And then I did this tree using like stencils, cut up bits of paper and then put the paper down in the shape of the tree. Then I just rub some soft pastels around it and work with like some negative space in the background, and then add pencil and also some more of the monoprint marks on top of it. I added a lot of scribbly marks on here. I also feel like it kind of reflects the emotion a bit of the character. I've also added some lighter bits of grass just to incorporate the character a bit more into the environment. I feel like even now maybe a bit still it looks a bit like it's not in the environment as much. I don't know how to explain it, but I think these little bits of the grass kind of help it too, but I might add a few more kind of things that incorporate it a bit more into the environment in Photoshop. That's my little explanation of this piece. So I'll take this to uni in an A2 folder and then I'll scan it in there. I use the A3 scanners. I scan it in like 4 different parts, and then I do photo merge on Photoshop, which automatically joins all the scans back together. Yeah, I've been working on this for like a couple hours and I'm quite hungry now, so I'm gonna go have some food. I'm gonna, I think, sign off the video here. In the next video I'm gonna be doing a draw with me, I think. I'm also still prepping for my market as well, for my first art market, so there'll be some updates on that. But yeah, I've kind of just been editing this video as I go along, so it's not been very planned, but I want to try be consistent with uploading once a week. Yeah, thank you so much for watching.